Welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely pumped to jump into this with you today. We are going to unpack a single, genuinely fascinating piece of digital art to see exactly how it visualizes intense emotional expression. We're essentially treating this artwork like a giant puzzle, taking it apart piece by piece to understand how visual choices, the colors, the shapes, the typography, all combine to capture a highly charged moment of conversational drama. It's an incredible example of visual communication, and I literally could not wait to share it with you.
Okay, let's dive into this. Do you think I am insane? Now, in everyday conversational English, a phrase like this isn't usually a genuine request for a medical diagnosis, right? It's a rhetorical expression of extreme disbelief, overwhelm, or just total frustration. It is the absolute peak of conversational intensity. When you drop a question like this in the middle of an argument, you are broadcasting a very specific, highly volatile emotional state. So how exactly do you capture that exact manic energy visually?
Well, here is the artwork we're exploring today, the actual source of that very dramatic question. Notice the immediate, almost jarring juxtaposition here. You're reading this incredibly intense, emotionally loaded question, but it's sitting right alongside this bright orange, seemingly cute little monster. And behind it all, this light, soft gray background filled with whimsical sparkles and a gentle bokeh effect. The contrast is immediate. It's this wild collision of the deeply chaotic and the wonderfully cute, creating a visual tension that just hooks you instantly. Visual anatomy of the monster. Let's peel back the first layer of our deconstruction and see how the physical traits of the character itself act as a visual metaphor for all that manic energy. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the artist systematically clashes soft, cute aesthetics with wildly unhinged physical traits to build up that conversational intensity. First off, we've got that warm, approachable, almost friendly orange color, but it's completely offset by those manic, wide, mismatched eyes. Then you have these whimsical, candy-striped horns sitting on top of a creature with 4 flailing hands. And finally, that soft, sparkly, dreamlike bouquet background gets violently interrupted by the monster's screaming, wide-open mouth. It is such a brilliant use of contradictions. I want to direct your eye to some specific details here. Look right inside that massive, screaming mouth. Notice the mismatched, asymmetrical, pebble-like teeth and that super bright pink, thick tongue. Now, let your eyes drift out to the sides at those 4 3-fingered hands just flailing wildly in the air. The sheer asymmetry of the eyes, one way larger than the other, pupils totally constricted, alongside those waving arms, it all collectively broadcasts this intense feeling of being overwhelmed. It visually nails that exact feeling of losing your grip during a heated conversation. Dueling typography and emotion. Moving on to the second layer of our peel the onion deconstruction, let's look at how the text itself is styled to completely shift the conversational tone. And this brilliantly illustrates what we're talking about. On the left side, we have the first half of the phrase, "Do you think?" It's written in this elegant, flowing black cursive font. It feels calm, like a whispering, refined inquiry. But then, on the right, it just crashes into the second half. "I am insane," rendered in this bold, heavy, blocky, all-caps orange sans serif font. These two fonts are essentially acting as 2 totally distinct conversational voices within a single sentence. It perfectly mimics how someone's tone can just snap from a quiet, collected lead-in straight into a loud, aggressive outburst. Returning to the full artwork, there is a brilliant micro-narrative embedded right here in the design. I really want you to notice how the text interacts with the monster. Look at the tail of the cursive black Y and the word "you." Do you see how it physically dips down, crossing directly into the spatial territory of that blocky orange "I am insane" text, right above the monster's sharply pointed legs? It physically connects the calm voice to the chaotic voice. It's an intersection of elegance and madness, seamlessly bridging the gap between those 2 emotional states right on the canvas. The artist's signature. Let's shift our focus just briefly to the very bottom of the composition to acknowledge the creator behind this carefully crafted chaos. Barakath. Emphasize that for a second. Notice how this signature sits completely isolated down at the bottom edge of the image. It is presented in stark, simple, black capitalized text. There are no whimsical curls here, no bold colors, no wild angles. It acts as a firm, grounded, almost sobering stamp of authorship resting quietly beneath the massive, chaotic emotional outburst happening right above it. It really anchors the whole shebang. Bringing everything together now, the unblinking manic eyes, the four desperately flailing hands, those brilliantly dueling cursive and bold fonts, the cute aesthetics clashing with aggressive shapes, and that grounding signature. We see exactly why this piece matters. It is an absolute masterclass in combining text and imagery to convey a highly complex, nuanced emotion. It visualizes that precise, chaotic moment when a conversation breaks down and frustration just boils over, and it wraps it all in a surprisingly accessible, colorful package. Which leaves us with this final, provocative thought. Think about your own moments of frustration or overwhelm. If you were to draw your own conversational intensity, what would it actually look like? Would it be a monster, a storm, a crazy shift in colors and fonts? Learning how to recognize these expressions, both in the language we use and in visual art, honestly gives us such a deeper understanding of how we communicate as human beings. I really hope this explainer gave you a whole new perspective on how art visualizes the way we speak and feel. Thank you so much for exploring this with me today. Keep observing the world around you, and I will catch you in the next one.